You know, I decided to upload that because I was just thinking about that video where the twerp was saying, you know, that why aren't we calling Gen X out? Why are we giving them a pass? Well, you know what, kid? Here's a fistful of fuck you. Anyway, how are we all today? I'm kind of burnt out. I was marathoning it. I have uploaded Boobs of Steel. The deadline is midnight tonight, so I thought I'd upload it now, just to make sure, you know, I didn't get dicked around by Amazon. So there's something to celebrate. Now, I will still have to go through and see about clearing the rights to graphics, but the book is uploaded. So now it's on to the print edition, which is going to be a bit more comprehensive, probably, just because I can include a lot more photos. That is the downfall, unfortunately, of the digital format, is that, well, you know, it promised so much. When the digital format first came out, there were all these possibilities of people using tablets and that graphics could do, you could have your graphics do more than just sit there and be static. But the layout capabilities never got there. That's the problem. The layout just is not there to do it very effectively. So print is still superior. What can I say when it comes to graphics? Anyway, okay. I find that I like Faderhead a lot, though their choice of voice clips are kind of dubious. Oh, what do you mean? Just out of curiosity. Um, yeah, I like older Faderhead. I don't know. He's kind of started taking himself too seriously. I liked it when it was just, again, just balls out, fuck off, weird aggro music. But the more recent stuff, he seems to be a little more serious about himself. But yeah, Faderhead's great. And the other reason I play a lot of Faderhead is, other than being very catchy, he doesn't care if you use his music on your show. Just as long as the audience knows it's Faderhead, they're okay with it. So Faderhead doesn't get me copyright strikes or anything shit like that. He's totally cool with it. So yeah, for anyone out there who might be in a band and you want your music to be promoted, not going after people on YouTube that play your music is a good start. Just saying, a little information for those of you out there. But yeah, I'm kind of spent. Like I said, I've been working my ass off to hit this deadline. Still not sure if it's going to be 5 or 6 chapters long. And the reason being is right now I uploaded the 5-chapter version because the 6-chapter version, or I take that back. No, I uploaded the 6-chapter version. I don't know if there will be a 7-chapter version when you all download it on the 10th. And that is because the 7th chapter that I had written, I don't know. I want it to be polished and I want it to be right. I don't want to give you anything that's second rate. So you might have to just wait till book 2 for that one. But what the hell, right? So you may have to wait to hear about why America Chavez sucks donkey. I was really hoping to include that, but we may have to just wait. But that isn't so bad. I think you already know why America Chavez sucks donkey. All right. Physical and king and beautiful. Okay. The intro into Dark Waters is, in order to understand your mind, observe it. What the fuck does that even mean? He also used, the clip he used in Hex Wars. I don't think I've even heard that song. We're still using PDF, which is proprietary and owned by Spitz Adobe. But yeah, I was so hopeful about the digital format and graphic presentations for books when they first started developing the technology. But hey, I don't know. Yeah, like I said, the Kindle format that we have got just does not play well with graphics, and that's really disappointing. I mean, the tablets and even just the e-readers offer so much, and they're only tapping maybe a fifth of what it could do. But what can I say? Are we shocked? Isn't that usually how it goes? How is everyone today? Like I said, I'm kind of burned out. Tonight we're going to do a writer's room with Ironcast Knight and Draco Nightmare. Although Draco, do I have your phone number? Jesus, your email, if you're listening, because I need to send you the invite. Gen X is the unsung hero. You just there's more credit than you're given. Well, Alice, we're thinking about changing the Monday Night Threesome to something like Pissed Off Gen Xers. Something to that effect. Because it's a little more accurate what you get. Or we could just call it Raltz Makes Everyone Laugh because he's Raltz tells it as it is. Raltz is going to tell you to shut the fuck up. How about that for a name? So yeah, that's been my day. I just that rush toward the finish. But yeah, the bit about America Chavez, when I realized I was hitting 5,000 words on just that, I realized it was its own chapter. Um, and why I say it's iffy is because it's really not that far off from being done. I've written just about everything I need about Chavez and why woke comics are complete disasters. Really, now the hard part is me getting into why well, specifically, I'm talking about the holy trinity of American comic mythology or superhero mythology, which is Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. Why those three characters endured, because all three of them had a lot of problems at the beginning. Actually, Wonder Woman was the most coherent. The original Superman, yeah, it was bad. It was almost unreadable. It was so incoherent for anyone who's actually looked at it. And I don't know. He had about the same level of morality as a woke hero too. Um, in the original, well, first of all, realize that when Superman was created, Siegel and Schuster were in high school, and they were basically writing Doc Savage fanfic. I mean, they weren't even trying to hide it. I mean, Doc Savage has a fortress of solitude up in the North or South Pole, I believe. Doc Savage had, I mean, all these things that Doc Savage has, Superman has the identical thing, and including adventures. And so there's that. It was essentially overpowered Doc Savage fanfic. But Siegel and Schuster's politics maybe left a little to be desired. They had Superman decide that he was going to solve the problem of a ghetto. That there was low income housing in his neighborhood. So what he did is he flew in and he ripped it to shreds, and then went to the government and said, "Build projects. There, you have that, so they'll have a nicer place to live." And there's another one where he decides that he doesn't like the fact that people drive recklessly. So he starts cruising around the highways. You know, this is before he would fly. He'd just jump. And he was jumping around looking at highways. And when he spotted um, a reckless driver, he'd fly down and toss the car right off the road, and then take the driver to jail. Um, Oh, there was one other where it was like, what the? Oh, there was another one where he was threatening a lobbyist with death. He said he was going. He flew up over the Capitol and told the lobbyist he was going to drop him if he didn't pass the legislation Superman wanted. I mean, he was a brute. I mean, that is woke level reasoning there. Um, and really, the Superman that we know him as, the Christ-like figure, came much, much later. And it's my contention that for as screwed up as the original Superman was, as the character kept getting handed over to different writers and different creative teams, and the mythology of Superman kept building, really, I think he was destined to become a Christ figure for two reasons. First off, apparently, Doc Savage, the creators of Doc Savage, intended him to have Christ-like aspects, or a Christliness, as they put it. And he even had an oath that was somewhat Christ-like, which, again, Superman is fanfic of Doc Savage for the most part. Then the other aspect was that for the backstory of Superman, he was from outer space, kinda, but really, it was largely pulled from Judaism. And the old Superman mythos was so steeped in Judaism that it was almost inevitable that he was going to eventually become a messianic Christ figure. It was just going to happen. That was the direction he was going in, whether they realized it or not. Now, Batman's kind of a different case, because the Batman stories of the past were actually generally pretty good, because they weren't his stories. Bob Kane was just basically tracing over the Shadow comic books, and copying the dialogue and just changing the names. So they were just almost word for word, scene for scene copies of the shadow. So in Batman's case, you had a strong archetype to begin with, to build from. Then later he became the goofy character in the 50s and 60s. But the Batman that we know today can largely be credited to Frank Miller reinventing him in the 80s. And it's kind of been that ever since. So again, we had two characters that were built on very strong archetypes, so that regardless of what troubled beginnings they had, there was a foundation to work off of. And then Wonder Woman, we've talked plenty about, she was built on the foundation of the Amazon myth. And well, actually, she's kind of a mix of an Amazon and a mother goddess. So again, a very strong foundation with a moral compass to build off of. Whereas these woke characters don't have archetypical foundations. They don't spring from heroic archetypes. Where they spring from is a list of labels. That's it. It's a bunch of labels. That's where they come from. And I don't really see how anyone can really formulate a character from essentially a bunch of labels you've got to include in a list. I mean, America Chavez was literally described as the queer Latinx, first queer Latinx superheroine with two moms. As if we fucking care. That's her character. That's her personality. The brown rug muncher with two moms. And so as this character gets passed down, and this character has been passed from creative team to creative team for 12 years now, it just keeps getting worse and worse. Are we shocked? I'm not. And you could say the same for just about every other one of these woke characters. There was no foundation to begin with. I mean, you could make an argument that they've done something with Miles Morales, maybe Gwen, but I don't know. Will any of them really endure? I kind of doubt it. Will any of them weave into the cultural tapestry that is modern mythology? Highly doubt it. I don't think so. So that's my opinion. And that's what I've just laid out for you, all that rambling there, is what's needed for that chapter on America Chavez. That last bit about the trinity of superheroes and how they all had rough beginnings, but by being passed from creative team to creative team, they became they had their own mythos develop organically. But the reason you could do it is they were all founded on solid heroic archetypes that mythologies have been founded on as long as there's been mythology. Whereas the woke characters are just labels. There's nothing else to them. They're just a string of labels. And where's that going to get you? Fucking nowhere, other than bad sales. And I do address the fact that Marvel keeps insisting that it's fanboys' fault that their books don't sell. Fucking assholes. They should really shove it up their ass. I am so sick of Marvel. The other thing that kind of gets me is they keep going on and on about the first gay Latina superhero. It's like Montoya has been gay since 2002 and has been the question since 2006. DC beat you by a decade, assholes. And, the other thing I get into is comics were already diverse. These fuckers don't want diverse comics. If they wanted diverse comics, they would know about the fact that Hawkwoman is a Mexican American. They would know that Catwoman is half Cuban. But the reason they don't know these things, is because they don't want characters in these comic books of different ethnicities. What they want are characters that act like fucking stereotypes and constantly announce, "Hey, I'm brown and lick carpet." Okay. The difficult thing about archetypes is you can't force it, or it's just stupidity. Yeah. But yeah, it was kind of shocking to realize Marvel has spent 12 years and on trying to get us to like America Chavez and has not succeeded once. Chavez has been in, oh God, let me get the list. Hold on a second. Oh, give me a second. I'm gonna have to open up. I have to find the file. Okay, there it is. All right, here we go. America Chavez. Marvel Comics has spent 12 years and millions of dollars attempting to trying to sell America on America Chavez. To date, the character has appeared in the West Coast Avengers, the Young Avengers, the Thunderbolts, the Champions, the Defenders, the Ultimates, A-Force, and has starred in two failed solo series. Chavez has been on TV animated specials, multiple video games, a web series, and starred in a movie or appeared in a movie with Doctor Strange. Nobody likes this fucking character. Give it up. But yeah, it kind of blew me away that they've been pushing that hard and still haven't figured it out. This character sucks. And I'm not really sure why they're so hell-bent and determined to have that character be one of their flagship characters. There's nothing redeemable about her. That's what you guys have to say about that. Mexico Portal Puncher is Mexico Portal isn't going to be a thing, Marvel. Stop trying to make it a thing. Yeah, exactly. Nor is holy menstruation ever going to be a famous catchphrase. Okay. America Chavez's asshole behavior kind of made her the thing you can point and say, America has gone off the rails without pointing out yeah. Well, the thing is, and I point this out, is that she doesn't wear the flag as love of her adopted homeland. It's mockery and defiance. Thank you. Yes, Moses. Superman had tons of Moses imagery. You think our graphic compatibility is lacking? Wait till you hear about the Japanese internet. Really? There's nothing redeemable about the people who wrote her, including Joe Casey. Hate Joe Casey's writing. Well, you know, I read his All America Comics issue, only one issue, right? It sucked ass. It was incoherent. Now, there was potential for a story there, yes, but it was so disjointed and so poorly put together. It was like, did the scene change? Is this a dream? What's going on? And, you know, I did my research. Joe Casey is just as woke as the rest of them. And, you know, I'm glad wokeness bit him in the ass and cost him his job. He lost his job and his character to a brown person. There you go. There's your fucking representation, Joe Casey. Suck on it. He kept going on and on how important it was that comics look like the real world today. Well, hey, there you go. You get what you deserve, asshole. How do you create archetypes in the history of our own tales? Rephrase that question. I'm not sure what you're asking. Archetypes are, in a way, they're akin to memes. Archetypes are these ideas that have transcended the stories that they inhabited. They're characters or character types or a collection of themes and tropes that have been with us forever, basically, and that they're tried and true figures of the image of a hero, the image of a peacemaker, the image of. And if you base your character on these archetypes, they're going to have a certain set of heroic traits and faults. And it's the way the human mind works. It's the language of symbols we think in. So it's not so much creating archetypes as tapping into archetypes. It's very rare for someone to create an archetype. Although it's fair to say Marston kind of created a modern Amazon archetype with Wonder Woman, because one, he specifically designed her to be that, basing it on Greek mythology mostly, and because it succeeded, and the image was so iconic and her collection of traits were so iconic that you could say, oh, well, that's a Wonder Woman type character. You see what I mean? You know, this person has a Wonder Woman-like dilemma in her quest. It becomes a point of reference. Okay. As RJ would say, the woke comic book heroes are nothing but woke ideas in masks. Yeah. You don't create archetypes unless you're massively lucky and talented. You use, adapt, or reject them. Well, the thing about the archetypes, and there's such a war against archetypes and hero's journey and tropes. It's like, why? These are tools that we've been using for thousands and thousands of years. Why would you abandon them? The reason they're archetypes, the reason they're tropes, is because they fucking work. And often these, a point of reference, or be it an archetype or a trope or a theme, the thing about having a point of reference is it's shorthand for bigger ideas. I like, again, the example I keep using over and over again is, we're so familiar with the Eden myth. In Western culture, we all pretty much know the story of the Garden of Eden. So therefore, calling someone a snake is shorthand for likening them to a trickster, the devil, and calling to mind the events that happened in the Garden of Eden. A bringer of woe. Do you see that's how it works? And that's kind of why it's a real shame that you guys aren't reading classics anymore, because you're losing a lot of those reference points. You're losing those tools, which I think is intentional. People, to really enjoy Shakespeare, for instance, you have to have at least a passing familiarity with the Bible. In fact, to understand Western literature in general, you need to have familiarity with the Bible and Shakespeare, and the Arthurian myths as well, arguably. Greek myths, maybe, yeah. But it's a very narrow scope of stories that we have shared for so long that they become universal reference points. And by taking those away from you, it makes it more difficult to communicate ideas. Going back to the one about the snake, okay? Calling a politician a snake may still sound bad to someone who has absolutely no knowledge of the Eden story or why being called a snake is a bad thing. But to really have the impact, the person has to have that reference point. Otherwise, you've got to lay out all the reasons, and you have to lay out, okay, well, he's a snake because this, and this. You get to skip all that. Saying he's the knight in shining armor is such an easy shorthand because it already explains all you need to know about what this person is, or at least is supposed to be. Another example is, you always see superheroes rescuing a child. Why? It's a narrative shorthand. It tells the reader immediately this is a character who defends the innocence that a child represents. Because commies want to destroy the past and eradicate history to bring in their utopia. Yeah, it's amazing that utopia just looks like a big pile of shit. I think these days, sadly enough, when it comes to millennials, the universal archetypes are, was it Harry, Hermione, and oh fuck, what was the ginger's name? I didn't read the books. I had no interest. But another example would be the horror icons of the 80s. Jason Voorhees has become an archetype, the unstoppable killer. And when you start referencing, the Cenobites, you reference the Cenobite, that's a reference that suddenly brings to mind hundreds of images. The war, or rather aggressive apathy against archetypes, is waged by postmodernist and cultural Marxists because they recognize archetypes are the core of our OS. Yes, exactly. Draco works graveyard and wasn't expecting to be brought on as well. Do you wonder? Oh, I thought he would be on as well. Usually we do them with the person on the air, but no, we can just bring you on and you can review. That's just fine. Makes it a little easier. Now, I was under the impression we get to bring him as well, but that's cool. And yes, you'll find in Boobs of Steel, I talk quite a bit about, a lot of this communists are to blame. Yeah, Ron, that was his name. Ron, Harry, and Hermione. The three universal archetypes every millennial seems to know. That and SpongeBob. Time was you weren't considered fully educated unless you knew literature from French, Latin, Greek, literary Hebrew, Persian traditions. Guys like Richard Burton had him. Yeah, exactly. And I would say that's still generally true. Draco, I would gladly come on if I had a bit more. Oh, really? When would be a good time? It would be cool to do it with you and Ironcast on the air. We can reschedule. That's not a problem. Yeah, if we can get both you on there at the same time, that would be infinitely better. What is a good time for you, Draco? We'll make it happen. Okay, so give me something else to talk about. I think it's kind of funny that Budweiser is now going through their first round of layoffs, and I think they're even closing some factories, all because they sent a can to a poofter. They wanted so badly to show how cool they were, and they were in with the cool kids and liked that groomer Dylan Mulvaney, and now their company's completely fallen apart within 3 months. You get what you fucking deserve. Oh, Coke in the West Wing. Are we shocked? So the real question is, whose Coke is it? Is it senior or junior? Or is it Hunter? Was it Hunter's crack, or was it Biden's or Joe Biden's crack? Oh shit! Oh no, that's tomorrow. I'm on your show tomorrow, right, Yang? God, my head hurts. I've been working my ass off to make sure that this book has clean copy and is good and is everything I've promised. And now my brain hurts. Gender Studies is eating itself alive, one university, because students weren't allowed to say biological woman. All the diversity chiefs are moving on to other opportunities. A week after Larry Fink said, ESG was a mistake. Funny timing that. Well, Larry, you shouldn't have invented it. That guy's a piece of shit. Fucking asshole. You know, of all the terrorist bombings, why can't somebody blow up a BlackRock facility instead of? Yeah, well, why hit the trade towers, man? Hit BlackRock. You want to do some real damage. But yeah, that guy is a piece of shit. Um, and I think really what it is the ESG things come to bite him in the ass hard. And I think dumping all this money into woke companies is finally catching up with BlackRock. You know, my worry right now with BlackRock personally is that they have dug themselves such a hole and their image is just going down the drain rapidly that I have a suspicion that they're now writing checks for money that doesn't exist to the various people who use them. That's just my suspicion. And you know where that goes. So I suppose I'm asking how to make a setting steeped in history. Well, it doesn't matter what the history is that you make. I mean, either you make your own history or you base it on a real history or a mix of both. It doesn't really matter. The archetypes transcend that sort of thing. Archetypes are, again, universal shorthand for different types of characters, different types of themes. So, yeah. Have you not seen Star Wars? 5 my time. Perfect. Sounds great. But can it cut vegetables? Depends. I can do Friday since that's my day off. No, I don't want you to push yourself. Let me ask Kat, see if we can't do Friday. By the way, China is stopping the shipping of electronic parts and materials. How interesting. Are we really surprised the man behind the curtain is a guy named Fink? Yeah, Bernie made off with our money. Bankman stole our money. Fink. All these financial people have like supervillain names. Have you noticed that? Regarding the Coke, I'm convinced the incident has been deliberately released. The puppet has exhausted his usefulness. Yeah, exactly. They're trying to get rid of him. Biden won't leave. He was supposed to exit a long ass time ago, and he won't fucking go. And the longer he stays, the harder it's going to be to run another candidate for president. Really, the person they want running for president should be campaigning now. But as long as Biden's there, that's not going to happen. Okay, going down the list. You haven't seen the original Star Wars. Well, as much as... Well, here, the thing about the original Star Wars trilogy is it's 2.5 movies that are good, and then you've got that bullshit with the bears. If you nixed that whole segment with the little goddamn bears, you'd have 3 great movies. But Star Wars is nothing but classic archetypes and tropes and themes. And that was because Lucas wanted them to be written as adventure myths. He wanted them written in a mythological format. And that's what he got. Kat says she's good with Friday. And another reason, Eloise, that you should at least see the very first Star Wars film, A New Hope, is because even though it's in space, it has the best aerial battle ever put to film, the best dogfight ever put to film. Now, I haven't seen Top Gun Maverick yet, so I could be wrong, but I contend that Death Star run is one of the is the best aerial battle put to film. Um, hey, no dissing the Bears? I have no idea. Think about the start of the Dial of Destiny with Indy being utterly. I haven't seen it. Don't know anything about it. You know, by the way, Disney is apparently slated to lose $1 billion on that film. And the only thing that's been keeping Disney afloat is Larry Fink at BlackRock continually giving them money to spread the woke message. So it's a sinkhole. And if it's $1 billion, yeah, that's got to hurt. That and the Marvel films just keep bombing. I mean, the Marvels looks like a fucking train wreck. You know, the Pacific Rim sequel, I will not see. I don't consider it canon. You know, just fuck that shit. Well, you can like the Ewoks BGC. But yeah, Disney's just coiling down the sinkhole. They've dug themselves a pit and they have jumped in and they've just figured that out now. And I also find it hilarious that a movie that they spent 5 years trying to shit can and make disappear, Sound of Freedom, is blowing out the box office right now and exposing child trafficking. That's great. And I do think they're legitimately worried about this becoming, normalized information that people are aware of. I mean, one of the things about child trafficking that I think allows it to go on is nobody really knows what it looks like. Yeah, how do these people go buy children? Where did the children come from? How are they transported? If you saw it, would you recognize it? Movie like Sound of Freedom is going to make it very common knowledge. You know, most people have an idea how drugs get into the country, how they're sold, where people go to get them. So to have that knowledge in regards to human trafficking, especially child trafficking, it's going to make it that much harder for those people to do that, to pull it off. It's going to make their lives much more difficult. And hopefully it'll mean some of them wind up dead because I'm sick of child traffickers. Um, okay. Going through your comments. The point of every millennial writer being a product of the book Save the Cat. They can't think outside the formulaic structure set out in that book. I don't even know Save the Cat. Let me look this up on Amazon. Oh, by the way, let me do this too. Boobs of Steel will be available on the 10th. It will for download. Pre-order it. I urge you all. Link is in the description. And yeah, I'm quite happy about this. What I'm not happy about is it keeps trying to throw it in with these stupid porn books. It's like, yeah, what the fuck is this shit? The Girly Guide? Let's see, there was another one that popped up. It's like Potion. No, where was the one? Prego. Who the fuck reads Prego? That's what I don't know. The idea of banging a pregnant woman just sounds really not attractive to me. Backyard Dungeon and she shows her ass. We know what that's about. Um, Sissygasm. What the fuck's a sissygasm? I don't think I actually want to know. Anyway, I don't know why it keeps tossing this book in with that crap, but whatever. So as you said, save the cat, huh? Save the cat. Oh, it's a screenwriting book. Um, couldn't they at least read story? I mean, story at least identified what the problem with moral relativism is. As Barwin Studios, hey, Backyard Dungeon was pretty good. Guy inherits an old house from relative. Turns out there's a cave in the backyard. Oh, okay. Well, if it's actually a good book, fine. I mean, is this like Richard Steele stuff or what? Let me go back down here. Well, we know what. Oh, no, no. 12 hard inches. A first time with a trans girl tale? Fuck no. So let's take a look here at Backyard Dungeon. There's Logan Jacobs, Backyard Dungeon. When I got the call from my estranged grandfather had passed away and left me his trailer and a plot of land, I was just excited to own property and save me some money on not having to pay rent. Then I found a strange cave in my backyard. It wasn't a sinkhole or bunker or a mine shaft. It was my asshole. Wait, no. It was a dungeon full of crazy, craven, unbelievable monsters, sexy, fantastical women in distress. Okay. Yeah, Save the Cat. The last book on screenwriting you'll ever need. Well, I already hate it, so there. Richard Steele is going to have a lot of material. Save the Cat seemed like to be a solid methodology workflow, but it's not the only only one for storycraft. It certainly shouldn't be regarded as such. Well, it seems like modern storytelling has no concept of moral dilemma or sacrifice or tension or just go down the list. Welcome to the harem lit genre. Yes, I agree, Neostar. The postmodern moral relativism is the anti-life equation. You tried to pre-order Boobs of Steel, but you keep getting an error message, Damien. Anyone else have this problem? Just curious. Okay, let's see. Well, I think I'm going to call it an afternoon. I just thought I'd drop in, say hello. Remind you all, if you haven't already, pre-order Boobs of Steel. It will be coming out July 10th. Tell everyone. Let everyone know this is happening. This is a thing. People need to know about it. Okay. They made a genre out of My Life with Monster Girls, a comic strip. Really? All right. Talk to you guys later.